Okay. Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Alhamdulillah. I just want to remind you, you have to submit 3 assignments. Individual 1, week 5, due date, week 5, individual 2. The due date is on week 9, and group report you have to submit on week 13, and finally you're going to have your final test in the last week of our semester. All right, so block the date, week 5, week 5, and then week 9, 5, 9, 13 and 14. 5, 9, 13 and 14. All right, so you have to submit. All submission must be done on YouFuture. Okay, let us continue. We have 15 students, 15 participants who have joined the session. Alhamdulillah. Okay, we're still in chapter 1. This chapter. Okay, we have learned basically, we have covered 2 lesson or CLO, course learning outcome. So we have covered point 1 and point 2, international banking services and reasons for international banking. Yeah, we have done that part. So this is the fund flow mechanism in all economics. We must have the surplus unit and we have the deficit unit. So deficit unit will use the excess money that will be invested by the surplus unit, either in the financial institutions or in the financial market. So we have these 2 types of markets in our fund flow mechanism or in our economics. We have financial intermediaries or financial institutions, and the second one is financial markets. The difference between these 2, remember, in financial markets, the institutions or the markets, they are selling financial papers. They are selling money market papers. They are selling equity, bond papers, commercial papers. They are selling short-term, medium, short, medium, up to long-term financial papers. They are selling papers. But in the financial institutions, they are not selling papers. All right. We're talking about banks. Banks are not selling papers. Commercial banks. We are not talking about the investment bank. We are talking about the commercial banks. So they are selling papers. They are not selling papers. They are offering kind of saving accounts, for example, right? Insurance company, they are not selling they are not selling papers. Mutual funds, these mutual funds, actually, they will collect money from what we call as non-aggressive investors, risk-averse investors, and mutual fund company will use the money they collected from the risk-averse investors to and they will invest the money in the capital markets or in any markets that they think will give a return to the surplus unit. All right, so these are the examples of financial intermediaries or financial institutions. So you have all these organizations. They are under financial intermediaries. All right, these are the financial markets. You can see under financial markets, we have capital markets selling long-term papers. We have money market selling short to medium-term papers, basically up to 6 to 12 months, right? Basically, there are also papers that mature within 1 to 3 months as well, short-term papers, right? And then we have forex market. Forex market is also under financial papers. Government security markets. Governments, when they need money, they will also issue papers in getting the money from the surplus unit. So they are selling papers. Government also selling papers. As I mentioned, governments are allowed to selling bonds, but not allowed to selling equities, because selling equities means to say that particular issuer will sell its ownership, all right, its stake. So when the investors or the surplus unit purchase, about 5% of that a particular company or institution, so meaning to say the surplus unit owns 5% out of the company's stake. So that's why government is not, that there is none, all right, in this world, any government that issue stocks. Right, they only issue bonds in order to raise capital, in order to raise money to finance the infrastructure project, for example. And we also have this derivative market, as I mentioned, when we are talking about hedging. So we normally will get involved in this derivative market. I think we are not going to cover this derivative market for our course, right? And then we have this insurance market when they are selling papers, we are not talking about insurance companies, but we are talking about the insurance markets. Right? There are two different compositions. And then we have this commodity market that is also under financial markets, right? Okay, we have covered all this. Oh, not yet, yeah. We covered this one here. What is international bank? And we have identified what is actually international banks. We have also identified the services, the motive of international banks, right? Banks go international for some reasons. For example, they go for growth, they go for wholesale defensive activity, they go for retail defensive activities, they go for, to create reputation, the foreign market. They go abroad because the domestic markets become saturated. They go abroad for competitive reasons. There are many reasons for the banks to go international, right? So we have learned about that. Okay, so these are all the services offered by international banks. Basically, we are talking about banks, right? When we're talking about banks, the basic activities are accepting deposits, all right? They will receive deposits and provide loans. So these are the basic activities of a bank. When they receive deposits from the surplus unit, that money will be used in order to finance the deficit unit. So that is the core business of all banks. Right, regardless of their orientation, domestic orientation or international orientation, or we're talking about global oriented banks. These are the basic activities: accept deposit, and then they will use the deposit in order to finance the deficit unit. All right, and this is one of the mechanism, right, the government can use in order to boost up the economic in one particular country, because in order to boost up an economic activity, the people in that particular country, they must spend. All right. So to encourage spending, one of the ways is to reduce the interest rate. So the central bank, right, as the agency of the government, will reduce the interest rate in order to encourage people to spend more. So that will boost up, that will give some injection to the economic, right? So the third activities, all right, as I mentioned, the first two are the basic, right? Basic activities, basic services provided by international bank. And then number three, they arrange for trade financing, all right? Trade financing, as I mentioned, you have exporter and importer, so they will play as a intermediary. They play a role as intermediary, all right? Guarantor to the importer and guarantor to the exporter. And they also provide, trade financing facility. Should the exporter, should the importer, they have difficulty to pay, they do not have cash in hand, for example, so the international bank will provide the financial assistance or financial facility for whatever stuff, whatever a purchase made by the importer or by the buyer. All right, and then they also arrange for forex transaction. Okay, this is very interesting nowadays. So you're talking about the ups and downs of our currency. Forex transaction is very important, especially when we're talking about globalization. We are not living in an isolated world. We are not, we are not North Korea. We are part of the globalization movement. We do not go against the globalization. So because of that, our companies trade. All right, they have trading activities in multiple countries. So to actually monitor the ups and downs of the forex is very important. And one of the important and very significant role of the bank is to actually mitigate the risk of the fluctuation in the forex transaction. All right. Any questions so far? No question, right? Okay, and then number 5, they also offer hedging services. All right, hedging is not only for option and forward contract, but hedging is also for futures contract. All right. Well, when we're talking about this hedging, it's quite technical, but I don't think we need to cover these hedging activities. But if you want to see the illustration of hedging, so I can show, but that is just for our general knowledge about hedging. Let me share with you the slides. There are only 24 of you, 24 of us. We are the rest. Wait, let me check hedgings in the future markets. All right, let me share with you these hedging activities. Can you see Microsoft PowerPoint worksheet?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Right. So this is hedging using futures contract. There is no calculation for this subcomponent. There is no calculation for this hedging. You are very fortunate, so you don't have to, explore and ponder about this subsection. All right, so hedging using futures contract, as I mentioned, hedging is a mechanism that can be used in order to mitigate risk. We have risk not only in terms of forex, the fluctuation of foreign exchange currency, but when we are dealing with, purchasing raw materials from other countries, so we have to also deal with the fluctuation in terms of the prices of the commodities, right? We have, for example, the entrepreneurs in our country, companies in our country that needs to depend on China or India or Thailand in order to get them raw materials. So they have to hedge here, not only, both ways. They have to hedge in terms of the currency, forex, as well as the fluctuation of the price of the raw materials, the commodity, right? So not many companies, they have this hedging department, but majority of the companies that deal with international business, they have one department that manage this hedging activities, right? They don't use this manual kind of operations. They have their own system in doing that hedging activities. But this is just for our class exercise. So we have this scenario. Assume you are a delivery company, right? For example, talking about Grab, Food Panda, Missy, for example, big companies. We're talking about Amazon, for example, no? Very big companies, yeah. Missy is a very small company, so I don't think they need to go for hedging. But a big company, they have to go to hedging. Airline industry, they have to go for this hedging, yeah. All right, delivery companies whose expenses are tied up to fuel prices. Okay, that is the very important commodity that they have to purchase, that they have to buy. You anticipate that you use 90,000 gallons of gasoline per month. This is anticipation, meaning to say future. Hedging is not today, all right, not for today, but that is for the future. That one is hedging. because we want to mitigate risk. Risk is, I mean, you're talking about the forecasted risk, anticipated risk. Okay, risk is something that you unable to identify. All right, but you have to foresee what are the risks. Okay, today is 1st July, and you want to hedge your next 30 months of fuel costs using this is the, I mean, future contracts. We are talking about the derivative markets just now. So you have forward and options, and one more is futures contract market, right? Under the derivative market. Information on this contract is as follows. You have each contract. The size of each contract is for the 2,000 gallons. Contract ends at the end of the prior month. Quite technical, this one here. Contract ends at the end of the prior month, right? And for example, August contract expires on July. We're talking about August contract expires on July. Initial margin is 11,475, and the maintenance margin is 8,500. So this is the scenario. First question, should you buy or sell the futures to initiate your position? So we have a situation that if we anticipate, all right, if we anticipate that the price of gasoline is going to go up in the future, so your position today is to buy or to, in futures contract, we don't call buy, we call long, right? In forward and options, we do not call buy as well. We do not call sell and buy. We call put and call. All right, put and call, put option, call option. So they use different terminologies in order to differentiate that you are dealing with different kind of derivative market. If you're talking about put and call, so that one is under options. But if you're talking about long and short, that one is under futures. Okay. So you anticipate the price to go up in the future. So now you have to buy. That is the position. So anticipation, you're talking about anticipation. And remember, if you're talking about anticipation, there will be always what we call as error. Because when the future time, you know, you are anticipating the future. We just anticipate. We do not know what will exactly happen. So when the time, you know, the real time occurs, maybe your expectation, your anticipation is not the same. Normally, it's not the same with whatever that we are expected. All right. So the time zero, you have to, now is time zero. So you have to forecast the time one. All right. So when you are already in time one, which that becomes the time zero, so you can see some error. All right. You can see some gap between the actual and the forecasted. All right. So it is not 100%. As I mentioned, even in the lab, if you have the more sophisticated, you know, equipments, you can be confident up to 99%. Only 99%. You cannot be confidence up to 100%. So same goes with this one here. You are anticipating, right? So that is our positions. You buy. That is our hedging. That is the first step in hedging. Yeah, you are talking about long position. Okay, how many contracts should you buy? So that this one is quite technical. You have to calculate how many contracts. So you anticipate to use 90,000 gallons of petrol or gasoline. So given in the contract is given by the gasoline futures contract. It is 40,000 per unit. All right. So what we can purchase, our anticipation is 90,000. All right. But we have to observe what is the number of the size of the contract. So the size of the contract is 42. So 90,000 divided by 42. So you have 2.14. So you have to round up because you cannot purchase 2.14 contract. You have to round up. So that one is equal to two contracts. So that two contract is equal to 84,000 gallons. All right. This one is 42,000, right? 42,000 multiply by two contracts. So this is the total amount of gasoline that you have to purchase, $84,000. So what is your initial cash flow? Initial cash flow, again, this is very technical. So you have the formula here. This is the formula. Number of contract multiply by the initial margin and multiply by the number of months. So this is what we have. All right. Okay. So these are all the things that you have to do. As I mentioned, this is not a part of our calculation. So what I can give is just the illustration, just the overview. So the third step, so you have to list down what are the anticipated price. Remember, these are all not actual price. You are talking about anticipating activity. So you are forecasting what will happen in the future. We do not know. So you know, we never expected that we have 7th October, for example. All right. So no one expected that, but we have that 7th October 2023. When Hamas, launched aggressive attack on Israel, because all this while Hamas was only at the defensive position, right? But 7th October, aggressive position. So no one anticipate in terms of that. So I'm sure you can see a big difference, a big gap, big error between the actual and the anticipated at that time. All right. So these are all the, the calculation here, all right? Okay, now when you calculate, you follow all these calculations so you can get what is the amount of gain from fuel saving. So if we purchase by using the futures contract, so this is the amount of saving that we are going to experience, 130,000, all right? So this is the gain, yeah, from this saving. From the futures contract. Okay, and assume if the futures contract closed at the actual price, right? So if this is the price, all right. Again the futures, you have to follow all this calculation. Okay, so you can see how much did you lose on your future contract. So this is the amount of money. So you can see we are not making profit here, right? We are not making profit here. This is actually a loss. You are experiencing a loss here. You have this negative sign. This one is, when we have our calculation, we got this saving, the gains from the saving. But when we do the calculation, so we are actually experiencing the loss. All right. So you can see anticipated versus the actual. In the actual setting, you have this loss. But in the anticipated, you have this profit. So you can say that is just meaningless to enter into the futures contract, because in the actual, finally, when we enter into this actual contract, so we are experiencing this loss. We are not gaining from the futures contract. All right. So look at this. This is our expected. We expect to get this. All right. The saving, fuel saving. All right. But you have to remember, when we are talking about hedging, we have to do two things at a time. The first one is the price of commodity. We have to calculate the price of commodity, and at the same time, we have to calculate what is the price of the futures in the derivative market. So you have to calculate this too in hedging, because when you're talking about hedging, you are talking about two different platforms. You have fuel, gasoline, and to hedge, you have to enter into another contract, which is futures. All right. So if you gain both, meaning to say you really enjoy in terms of your gain. You gain from the commodity as well as from the futures. But now we gain only from the commodity, but we are experiencing loss from this one here, from the futures contract. So you have these two situations, all right? Commodity, your anticipation is okay. You are gaining that kind of profit. But in the futures market, you are at negative side, right? So what is the benefits of hedging then? Right now, as I mentioned, hedging is used to mitigate, not to eliminate. Is to mitigate, to minimize risk, not to eliminate risk. So now what you can do is you can calculate what is actually the impact of futures of hedging on your gasoline price. All right. Basically, when you have positive and negative situation like this, what you can do is you take this positive and minus with this negative part, because you have to, right? You hedge in the commodity market, the gasoline market, and you hedge in the futures market. One is positive, another one is negative. So now the positive minus the negative, how much is the difference? So that difference is actually the you can see the profit. All right. So was it a good hedge? Yes, definitely. All right, it is actually a good hedge. And you can say gas price fluctuation had a little impact on our profit. All right, because you still can, you are not save a lot, but at least you minimize the risk. All right, by having, in the end, when you calculate, so you have this the positive of the hedging activities. All right, so that is hedging. So in hedging, in mitigating risk, forecast is very important. Anticipating the future is very important, right? So not everybody has these, but we have sophisticated software in order to assist the companies in doing these hedging activities, right? But basically, you need to know what is the concept of hedging. Remember, hedging is to mitigate risk. So to mitigate risk, you have to follow all the steps. There are steps in mitigating risk. All right. Okay. Any questions? Right. There are only 26 of us. You're supposed to have 32. Okay, let us go back to our. This one is our slides. All right, so they offer hedging services, and finally they go for investment banking services. So this one I have explained, yeah. Okay, reasons for international banks. Okay, now we are now at lesson number 3, the types of international banking offices. So we have these banking offices, international banking offices, We have correspondent bank, representative bank, foreign branch, subsidiary, affiliate, each act, offshore financial center or offshore banking centers, and international banking facilities. So these are all the components or the operations under international banking and money market. All right. The first one is corresponding bank. Corresponding, we're talking about the relationship between two banks. So they act as a middle person. All right. They act as independent party. Okay. So how does this correspondent bank play roles in international business? So we have this sender, right? Let's say the sender is located in, let's say in Cambodia. Let's say this sender is located in Cambodia, and you are talking about international business activities. So this company must hire a bank. They must appoint a bank, all right? Because this bank will, play a very important role as guarantor. That the bank will promise to the importer that whatever stuff ordered by the importer will be sent by the sender. So sender need to appoint a bank. All right. So now, let's say in Cambodia. So this bank is apa bank dekat Cambodia? Cambodia Asian Bank. All right. There's one bank, Cambodia Asian Bank. Okay. So this Cambodia Asian Bank, right? So definitely they deal with their local currency, right? But this sender is having an international business activity, let's say with a Malaysian company, right? So the trading is between Cambodia and Malaysia, right? Cambodia and Malaysia. So Malaysia take one bank, we have Maybank, all right? Malaysia has one bank, Maybank. And then Cambodia is Cambodia Asian Bank, all right? But this Cambodia Asian Bank, it has no operation in Malaysia, all right? It has no operation in Malaysia. But this sender definitely the sender must exchange the currency into ringgit Malaysia. All right. And because of this bank, limitation of this bank without its operation in Malaysia. So if there is no, innovation in international banking activities, definitely, they will restrict the import and export activity. So because of the innovativeness in banking industry, so they come out with a correspondent activity or correspondent bank. All right. What does it mean by correspondent bank? So in this correspondent account or correspondent bank, Cambodia Asian Bank is not required to set up its facility in Malaysia. All right. Because if they, without innovation, okay, they have to set up its foreign branch in Malaysia. That costs a lot of money. So because of innovation, so the bank is not required to open up its foreign branch in Malaysia. What the bank needs to do is just to allow, correspondent to open a correspondent account, meaning to say Cambodia Asian Bank will open up an account, a correspondent account for Maybank. And Maybank will open up an account for Cambodia Asian Bank. So we are not talking about the establishment of a physical bank, but we are talking about the establishment of a correspondent bank, correspondent banking relationship. There is no physical existence. Remember, there is no physical existence. It is only about account, correspondent account. Bank of Cambodia will maintain a Maybank correspondent account, and Maybank will maintain a Bank of Cambodia correspondent account. So when the sender wish to send or deliver its good to Malaysia, all right, the importer need to pay. So again, because of the correspondent account, the importer will just pay to Maybank, and Maybank will, they will make that, transfer within these two banks internally, because they have the correspondent bank. They have the correspondent relationship. That is correspondent account or correspondent banking relationship. Can you copy? Do you understand? Can you hear me?
Yes, madam. Yes.
All right. Can you copy?
Yes,
Do you
madam.
understand?
No. Yes, but not quite. I understand.
Okay. Okay. All right. It is not about the establishment of physical banks. Yeah. It is the maintenance of account. All right. Foreign bank account in a local bank. The maintenance of foreign bank account in a local bank. Bank, we have Maybank. All right. So correspondent banking relationship means Maybank will maintain Cambodia Asian Bank in its operation, in its account. So meaning to say, in its ledger, they will have, the Cambodia Asian Bank. And these two banks are not establishing a new bank. They only maintain account. All right. So what are the activities? They provide trade financing. As I mentioned just now, very basic. We have the importer and the exporter. All right. Exporter will send a good to Malaysia, and Malaysia buyer must pay. All right. So in order to pay, you have to make sure, you can convert the money from RM to the Cambodian currency. What is the Cambodia currency? Yeah. All right. So you have to do that. So you cannot do it on your own. You have to appoint a bank. All right. So the condition of, having, that transaction is definitely you have to open up your bank account in other countries. So that is just ridiculous. All right. So that's why they just maintain this correspondent account. All right. They also allow for international fund transfer from Cambodia to Malaysia, Malaysia to Cambodia. All right. They provide check clearing services if the buyer pay by using check, so they will provide the service. And forex exchange, all right, they will exchange the currency, so that will be done by the bank. Buyers and sellers using this kind of activities, what they need to do is just to pay for the fees, right? Treasury management, trade financing, saya ulang pula 2 kali ni. Trade financing sama ya dengan yang pertama, as well as liquidity management. So you can look into this, the example of correspondent bank in Maybank. Boleh nampak tak? Saya rasa tak boleh nampak lah, saya kena share. Can you see? I'm opening up Maybank site now.
No, madam.
No,
Tak
madam.
dapat itulah tu, kalau online macam tu lah, kena buat satu-satu tak? Now can you see Maybank?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you can see here, this is the list of, in the appendix, the list of Maybank. So you have Maybank banking, in Malaysia, for example. So you have this Maybank Banking Berhad, Shanghai branch. So this is what we call as, this bank maintain a corresponding account with China banks. All right, they have correspondent account with China banks, Bank of China, for example. All right, so if you have trading activities between Malaysia and China, so you can just engage with Maybank. You don't have to open up your account with Bank of China. Just maintain your account with Maybank, and then Maybank will do all the transaction, paying, or paying the money, transferring the money, clearing the check, and all. You have that kind of advantage. So we have another branch in Beijing, Maybank in Cambodia. So you see here, Maybank in Cambodia, meaning to say, if you are here in Malaysia, so you have your trade with your Cambodian counterpart in Indonesia, so you don't have to open up your account in Cambodia Asian Bank. So you can just maintain your account in Maybank, and Maybank will do all the payment on behalf of you, or Maybank will do all the transfer on behalf of you. All right, so that just simplified the trading activities, right? So that what we mean by correspondent banking relationship. So we have a lot in China. We have a lot of in China. So that shows we are actively involved in trading activities with China. All right, we have in Hong Kong, India as well. We have this in India, only one. So if you have your counterpart in India, so you don't have to open up your account with an Indian bank. You can just maintain your account with Maybank, because Maybank maintain Indian banks account, all right, in their corresponding corresponding account. So just have your Maybank account, and then you can instruct the bank to make a clearance on behalf of you. All right, we have in Indonesia. You're selling or buying goods from Indonesia, so you don't have to you open up a bank. You open up an account in Indonesian bank. There's no requirement to do that, because you have this facility, correspondent banking relationship or correspondent account facilities, right? So that's how it works. Okay, so you have in Philippines, you have in London, for example. So you don't have to open up any account with a Barclays Bank, for example, American banks, for example, if they have the correspondent account. All right. Okay, so that's that is the the definition of correspondent account relationship. Let us go back to our slide. Okay, the second relationship, the second types of international bank is known as representative offices, right? Representative offices. What do we mean by representative offices? So remember, in correspondent bank here, the staff, the foreign bank is not required to hire any staff, all right, in the local bank. Let's say we have Maybank and Cambodia Asian Bank. So there is no requirement for Maybank to send its staff to Cambodia Asian Bank in order to maintain the correspondent account. No need. That is not the requirement under correspondent bank, right? If you have correspondent bank, all activities will be conducted by the local bank or by the foreign bank. Foreign bank won't send any of its employees to the local bank. So kalau saya sebut local bank, maksudnya saya refer kepada Cambodia in our case, ya. Alright, local bank. Okay, when we talk on behalf of the Cambodia. Tapi kalau kita bercakap daripada konteks Malaysia, Malaysia adalah local, Cambodia adalah foreign. So jangan confuse dua ni, right? Local rujuk kepada kita lah, apa yang kita rujuk, alright? Kita di mana? If you are in Cambodia, so our local is Cambodia and our foreign is Malaysia. If you are in Malaysia, our local is Malaysia and our foreign is Cambodia. Ada pelajar masih lagi keliru bila kita kata local and international. So local pada dia adalah domestic. Kita sebut tentang international activities, ya. We are talking about international activities. Okay. Okay, next one. If the foreign bank wish to hire its staff, so that foreign bank is no longer under corresponding banking relationship. It is actually under representative offices. You see, the word is representative, meaning to say the foreign bank, all right, must send its, people, all right, working in the bank, all right, in the foreign country. Okay, bank must send its staff, right? They have to hire its staff in the international location, right? That one is representative office. What is the duty? What is the main duty of these representative officers? Basically, they will do market research on behalf of the multinational corporation and on behalf of the government. They will go for information search. They go for information search. All right. They will, let's say, Maybank opened up a representative office in Vietnam. So the duty of that representative office is to learn about the Vietnamese market. What are the activities? What are the the current activities and the futures activities that should be offered by Malaysian companies? All right. So they will provide that information. They will provide thorough analysis. And remember, this is not for free. Information is not free. You have to pay. You must pay for the information. All right. Any information, all information, you must pay. All right. So that's why when you have your study opportunity, so you need to grab this opportunity because information is not free. Out there, you have to pay. Right, you need to pay for information and for knowledge. In order to get talents, for example, you have to pay. It's not cheap, it's very expensive. All right, so you can see the second bullet. It allows foreign bank to have a presence together with the expatriates to explore business opportunities within a country. So you have Maybank. Maybank, they can work together with multinational corporation, and multinational corporation they must pay. They must pay to Maybank in order to get the information about Vietnamese market. All right. So these are all the activities given or provided by a representative office. All right. They will give information about business practices, economic information, and credit evaluation. So you can see here. Let us look into this. What are the example of representative offices? Can you see? Representative offices?
Yes, madam.
All right, list of approved representative offices of foreign banking institutions in Malaysia. You can see from Australia. These are all in Malaysia, and they have their representative offices. So we have Australia and New Zealand Banking Group Limited. So the bank sent its staff to our country. All right, local bank, Australia, sent its staff to Malaysia. All right, so their duty is to search for the information. All right, and then we have from France. This is the bank from France, Hong Kong, all right, India, Korea, Nepal, Singapore, Taiwan, United States of America. So these are all the representative offices in Malaysia. All right, so they study about Malaysian market. Okay. Including the economic, yeah. So they will give a signal not only to MNC. Remember, they also give signal to the investors. Remember that. Okay. So let's just go back to the original screen. So the third type of banking, international banking operation is known as foreign branches. Foreign branches is very simple. All right, so you have, this is just like an extension of the domestic bank abroad. We have Maybank open up its branch in Australia, open up its branch in the Philippines, open up its branch in Indonesia. So that one is foreign branches. Okay, so foreign branch, that they provide those activities that I mentioned just now. They offer, I mean, deposit, accepting deposit. They provide loans. So the services are wider as compared to correspondent bank and representative offices. Because foreign branches is just like you have Honda in Malaysia, you know, so they open up their branch in other countries. All right. Okay. They operate like local banks and it is owned by the parent bank. Remember, extension of the foreign, extension of the domestic bank. Maybank open up in Indonesia. So that bank belongs to the parent. But small percentage can be owned by the local partner, local banks in Indonesia. Small percentage can be owned by the local bank in Indonesia. That is allowed. But majority must be owned by the parent bank, right? So we are talking about the limit. So this is actually, again, you know, loan limit based on the total bank capital. They can provide more loans than subsidiary bank. So basically we have two. We have foreign branch and subsidiary banks. Foreign bank and subsidiary bank. All right. What is the difference between these two? So you're talking about the limits of loan. Remember, when we are opening up a branch in other country, so that branch belongs to the parent company. So let's say the capital held by the parent is 100 million ringgit Malaysia. Say, for example, 3% must be set aside as a reserve. So 100 million minus 3%. So that is the amount of money that can be used to finance the deficit unit. For foreign branch, right, which is located in Indonesia, maybe in Indonesia there is only one branch. There are only 25 staff, very small, to serve the whole Indonesian market. But because this is a foreign branch bank in Indonesia is allowed to give out loan equal, right, equivalent with the amount of loan that can be provided by Maybank in Malaysia, which is 100 million minus 3%. All right. So that is the amount of loan that can be disbursed, that can be offered by Maybank Indonesia to the deficit unit in Indonesia. That one is foreign branch. But if you're talking about subsidiary bank, right? Let's say Indonesia open up a subsidiary bank, sorry, Maybank open up a subsidiary bank in Indonesia, right? So you have the capital in Malaysia is 100 million ringgit, right? As a subsidiary in Indonesia, they cannot offer loan based on whatever amount of money that can be offered by the parent company. The amount of loan that can be disbursed or that can be offered by Maybank Indonesia is based on the deposit that they collect in the Indonesian market. If they collected, for example, 1 million rupiah, so they have to observe what is the statutory reserve requirement. Let's say the statutory reserve requirement is 2%. So 100,000 minus 3%, the balance is the amount that can be disbursed to the deficit unit. That is the difference between foreign bank and subsidiary bank. All right. Remember, when you're talking about foreign bank, the bank is owned by the parent company. So the parent, they will follow the parent. If the parent say the amount of money that you can disburse for loan is 97 million. So they will follow 97 million. But as a subsidiary, they are actually independent. They are part of the parent, but they have to operate independently. So if the amount of deposit collected is 10,000 rupiah. So the amount of deposit, the amount of loan is based on 10,000 rupiah minus the statutory reserve requirement in Indonesia. That's the difference, yeah, between foreign bank and subsidiary bank. All right. And remember, foreign bank, the operation is complicated, very complicated, because they have to observe whatever rules and regulation issued by Bank Negara Malaysia, and at the same time they have to also observe the rules and regulation issued by the Central Bank of Indonesia. That one is foreign branch. But if you have subsidiary bank, you only have to observe the rules and regulation issued by the local government. All right, that foreign government, Indonesian government. Okay. Let's look into this. Kita tengok contoh-contoh bank. Right. Ini adalah contoh foreign bank in Malaysia. You can go to this list of foreign banks, right? American Express Bank, BNB, Paribas, Bangkok Bank, Bank of America. So you can read. The list goes on. All right. These are all lists of foreign banks. So in order to provide loan facilities, they will refer to the capability of the parent company, parent bank. All right. So you can see Citibank, for example. Citibank is already sold to UOB Group Malaysia. You have, for example, China Construction Bank, Malaysia. But the amount of loan that can be disbursed in our country is based on the amount of money, amount of deposit collected by the parent company. It's huge. All right. Susah nak it's not easy to compete with them. It's very competitive, because the amount of loan that the capability in terms of the amount of loan that they can disburse to the market is very big, right? Okay, let's go back to the original slide. Okay, next one is tak bergerak ni. Subsidiary bank. Nampak ni? Subsidiary bank. Tadi saya dah terangkanlah subsidiary bank. What is subsidiary bank? Okay, subsidiary bank, as I mentioned, it is wholly owned or owned in major part by foreign partner. But remember, they do not have to observe very strictly to the financial regulation issued by the home country. All right. So this is actually an opportunity for banks, any banks, if they observe the rules and regulation in the home country is very strict and they want to relax in terms of the financial regulations, what they can do is to open up its subsidiary bank in the country that is a bit relaxed in terms of the financial regulation. They're given this opportunity. All right. They will give that kind of freedom. Okay, because if you go for foreign branch, a foreign bank, you have to observe the financial regulation in both home and host country. But for subsidiary bank, there is no requirement for the bank to observe to the home country's financial regulation. What they need to do is just to refer to the host country financial regulation. Okay, so that is the positive, a positive view, a positive perspective for those who wish to escape from the strict regulation in the home country, right? To look at US, again, quite strict, in terms of reporting. They're very strict in terms of their, accounting procedure. So if you want to a bit relax, to open up in other countries that are quite relaxed in terms of the financial regulation. Okay, OCBC, we have OCBC, Malaysia, right? Open up a subsidiary in Malaysia. So OCBC in Malaysia is a subsidiary. It's not a foreign bank. It's a subsidiary of OCBC Singapore, right? How do we know? We have to read. Kita takkan tahu bila kita tengok OCBC ni, oh ni foreign branch ke, subsidiary branch ke, we do not know. So we have to read, yeah. Okay, next one is affiliate bank, right? This bank is incorporated in host country, but partially owned, but not controlled by the foreign parent. All right, this one is a affiliate bank. They do not, again, they just similar with the subsidiary bank, right? The difference is in terms of the their requirement to comply to the which country's regulation. So affiliate bank only need to comply to the host country's regulation, right? But it is not controlled by the parent bank. Subsidiary, right, wholly owned by the parent bank. Affiliate, it is not owned by the parent bank. It is owned by the other parties. Parent bank can own, but not as majority shareholder, not as the majority owner, only minority owner. That one is the difference between affiliate banks. Similarity, affiliate and subsidiary, both banks, they only need to observe to the host country's financial regulation. Okay, there's a difference and the similarity between affiliate and subsidiary bank. Any question? All right, so we have an example here, Bank of America Corporation. So they have affiliate bank, including US Trust, Merrill Lynch, First Franklin Financial, and Balboa Insurance Company. All right, these are all affiliate bank. They do not wholly own the bank, right? They own partially, small percentage, minority shareholder. Okay. Next one is HAC banks. So HAC bank is actually we are talking about the bank in America. They operate domestically, but they are allowed to extend their services, banking services for multinational corporation. They provide international business banking related services. This one is known as HAC Bank. By right, if you want to provide international banking, international business related international business banking related activities, what they need to do is they have to open up their branch in foreign countries. Especially when we're talking about, loan, providing loan. We're talking about providing loan, accepting deposit in multiple currencies. You have to open up the operation in other countries or in offshore. That is the condition. But Sir H, right, at that particular point of time, he thought it's very important to make the bank in Americans competitive, because at that point of time they need to compete with other international banks. International banks from multiple countries, from many countries, they open up their branches in America, right? Leaving American bank less competitive. So in order to improve the competitiveness, Sir H, ini nama orang ya, dia senator. Sir H, he proposed, all right, for the government to allow banking, US banks to provide banking services beyond the domestic customers. But their operation is in America. That was actually the idea. It's like Maybank. Maybank is in Malaysia, right? There are a lot of international banks in Malaysia. So Maybank becomes very less competitive, right? Tidak berdaya saing, less competitive. So what Maybank can do, ini tak adalah di Malaysia, right? Any senator. What the senator can do is, the senator can make a proposal to allow Maybank stay in Malaysia, but they can provide multiple international banking related activities to multinational corporations. Tapi kita tak boleh buat lah sebab our market is very small. Apa lagi? And then in terms of companies, we are not really competitive. In terms of innovation, we are not that competitive. In terms of innovation, in terms of products, as well as innovation in terms of financial related activities. We are not that innovative. So Americans, the age, this person dare to have this kind of proposal, because when you're talking about industrialization, all right, industrialization 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, even it was started in British, some say, Britain, but you know, you're talking the impact. The impact is worldwide, and the first that actually experienced the positive impact of industrialization was America. Industrialization 1.0 was America. So that's why you can see a lot of companies, you know, they establish their companies in America. They need money. They have to expand their business abroad. So many international companies see that opportunities, but American business, American banking institution at that time are very less competitive, very weak. So they come out with this act, right? Okay. Apa tak nampak ni ya? So you can read here, Edge Corporation, subsidiary of US foreign bank. They engage in foreign banking operation, but their operation is in Malaysia. In domestic country, in the home country, right? So you can read each act named after the US senator, all right? Okay, so this was actually the suggestion made by this person. Okay, there are two types of Age Act corporations, yeah. The first one is in terms of banking. So the American banks who comply to this act, they are allowed to provide banking facilities to their international customers. And at the same time, they're also allowed to provide investment activities to the international customers. So we are talking about innovation, yeah. We are talking about innovation. So you have to look into the act in order to allow the banks to be competitive, right? Especially when the country is, a central of industrialization activity. So it is just meaningless for the US bank to have the operation in other country, while many companies wish to set up its activity in the States of America. So that's why Age suggested at that time, Bank of America maintain their operation in America, but they are allowed to provide international banking services to the multinational corporations. All right, so that is actually one of the advantages of being competitive, of being big, of being innovative. People will listen to you and people will follow whatever suggestion that you have. That is the advantage. We are small, we are follower. All right, kita memang macam tu kan? Kita suka ikut, follower. Sometimes just follow without reasons. Okay, so HX Corporation may do some business domestically, definitely, because their operation is in the domestic market. They still serve their domestic customers, but at the same time, they serve the international customers. Yeah. Any questions so far? Are we okay? Alright. Attendance tak penuh ya, 28 sahaja. International banking facilities. Okay, international banking facilities again. So you cannot see in this world, right, a bank known as international banking facilities. Tak ada. Dia memang takkan ada. You takkan jumpa. Macam Age Act tadi. You takkan jumpa. Affiliate boleh jumpa dengan cara you baca. Bank tu wujud. You kena baca lah. Dia ni apa. Affiliate bank ke, subsidiary ke, foreign ke, correspondent ke, ataupun representative office. Selalu representative office kita boleh agak. Yang kita tak boleh agak 3. Affiliate, subsidiary dengan foreign. Ini kita tak boleh agak. Correspondent tersorok. Memang tak nampak. Kita tak tahu. Rupanya Maybank ada correspondent dengan beberapa bank yang lain di luar negara. Itu kita tak nampak. Tapi yang 3 ni kalau you nampak RRG, you tak tahu. Is this a foreign bank or subsidiary or affiliate? Kita tak tahu. We do not know. We don't have idea unless we learn. We study. We investigate and examine. Age Act sama juga. You tak akan nampak. Dia ni Age Act bank ke apa. You tak akan nampak. You kena baca. You have to read. Alright. In the States of America. The banks are in the States of America. Right. International banking facilities. Same to Age Act activities just now. You cannot see because we're talking about reporting, international banking facilities. This is actually about reporting, right? The facility, look at this word, facility. It allows depository institutions in the US to offer deposit, loans, and other banking services to foreign resident and institution while being exempted from the Federal Reserve requirement. All right. This is the advantage of having your bank to serve international customer, right? You are not required to set aside the statutory reserve requirement. I mean, I explained just now the statutory reserve requirement. If you have 100 ringgit, 3% is SRR, so you can only loan out up to 97 ringgit. 3 ringgit you have to keep. All right, you cannot use that 3 ringgit in order to finance the deficit unit. So for banks, that is actually opportunity cost, because when you keep that reserve in the account, meaning to say you make the money static. The money won't make more money. While banking services is about making more money by using others' money. All right, so international banks, most of them, they are not compliant to this, except for foreign branch. You have foreign branch, affiliate, and subsidiary, right? Foreign branch, they have to observe. If we have Araji as foreign branch in Malaysia, foreign bank in Malaysia, statutory reserve in Malaysia is 3%, so Araji must comply to this 3%. All right. But if Araji is subsidiary, so they don't have to comply. If Araji is affiliate, they don't have to comply. All right. Same go to this. If a bank provides international banking facilities, so they do not have to comply to the statutory reserve requirement, the regulation set by the home country. All commercial banks in Malaysia, right? CIMB, RHB, Afin Bank, ada lagi ke Afin Bank, right? Apa lagi? Bank Rakyat. So they are subject to SRR, right? Because they are under Bank Negara Act. Okay. Okay. I mentioned about H Act just now. So all banks that comply to H Act, what they need to do, remember, they do not have to open up their operation, their foreign operation. They are hybrid. They have domestic plus foreign banking operation. So what they need to do is they have to establish a different account, a separate account. So that account is known under international banking facility. It is categorized, or it is actually under international banking facilities. So when you see a bank with international banking facilities account, separate account, so you know that the bank is a domestic plus foreign bank. All right, domestic plus foreign bank. But in IBF, you're talking about exemption from the strict requirement of financial regulation by the home country's government. That one is international banking facilities, right? You tengok dia punya ni exemption approval is 1981. So it is actually we are talking about keep on applying to have exempted from the home country's strict financial regulations. You can see there are many banks wish to have their operation in offshore financial centers, because in offshore financial centers, they are very liberal. They're very relaxed, right? Because they do not have to comply to the regulations of the home countries, all right? Strict regulation of the home countries, strict regulation of the host countries. They are subject to BIS, all right? When we are talking about international banks, definitely you will ask, who is the central bank? Because in Malaysia, you have to observe whatever regulation issued by Bank Negara Malaysia, the central bank. In Indonesia, all the banks must observe the rules and regulation by the central bank in Indonesia. All right, in America as well, they have to observe what are the rules and regulation by the FedEx. All right. How about international banks? Who will observe their activities? So we have one. It is not a bank by nature, but it is treated as a central bank for international banks. It is known as BIS, Banks for International Settlement, right? Banks for international settlement. Pukul apa ni? Saya cakap dah pukul 10 pula. Kita habis pukul apa 10:30. Okay. Any questions so far?
No,
No,
madam.
madam.
All right. Okay. So that one is international banking facility, right? So international banking facilities and any banks with H Act, using H Act, they are very closely related. Yeah. Oh, ada nota saya yang hilang lah you. Oh dear. Kejap. Ke dah habis? Okay. Offshore banking center tertinggal. Nanti saya terangkan semula ya, saya akan update lah, offshore financial center. So we have this offshore financial center in international banking facilities. Just now I mentioned about offshore financial centers. All the banks, as I mentioned, they are free, to operate. They just need to comply to BIS when they are in the offshore financial center. And one great features of these offshore financial centers, all banks with their operations in offshore financial centers, they must, actually keep the highest secrecy about the activities held in the banks, right? So you cannot, the bank, they have right to actually make it confidential about all the activities, right, in that particular bank. Meaning to say there is no requirement for them to disclose who are their depositors, who are their borrowers. And because of this, when you are talking about drug cartels, we are talking about the dark side of the trading world. We are talking about the drug cartels, for example. So they have a lot of money, they do the transaction worldwide, and they need bank in order to do the transaction. So they have the money in the offshore financial centers. One more, if you're aware about money laundering activities, this is another, hot topic nowadays. You're talking about money laundering activities, So you have the money from illegal activities and you want to legalize the money. So the illegal money will be deposited in the offshore, in the banks located in the offshore financial center. All right, so they will do all the activities in order to clean up the money. All right, so that's why we call it as money laundering activity. The illegal money, so you clean up, you go into the laundering, center, and then the money become clean. So the money will go to the market. Okay, so that is, it happened. All right. Okay, next one. Lesson number 4 is capital adequacy standard. So as I mentioned, all international banks, they are free from statutory reserve requirement. Statutory reserve requirement is set by the central bank of a particular country. Right? And if you are operating under foreign bank, you have to do that. Maybank, if open up its bank or its foreign branch in Indonesia, so they have to comply to statutory reserve requirement in Indonesia. But if Maybank, for example, is located in offshore financial center, or the Bank of America that has IBF, International Banking Facility, they are free from comply to the SRR. But reserve is very important, in order to make sure the money can be used during the difficult situation, all right, in order to cover the depositor. Remember, the surplus unit, they deposit the money into the account, and the bank will use the money in order to finance the deficit unit. In return, the bank will get some return from that. They can get from some and profit from that. And the money, the profit, the return that they get, they will give some percentage to the surplus unit. All right. So let's say if the international bank, for example, the money received is 100 ringgit, $100, for example. So under international banking regulation, by right, they can use $100 in order to finance the deficit unit. But that is not the beauty of it. All right. It is, yeah, they are free from SRR, but they need to comply to this capital adequacy standard. So for international banks, all right, they have to observe capital adequacy standard. Capital adequacy standard is a reserve. All right. Reserve for international banks. SRR is a reserve. Reserve provided by the central bank. All right. CAS is a reserve. And this reserve is set by BIS, Bank for International Settlement. All right. Can you see the bank? Dia tak ada. BIS is this one is composed of multiple banks. All right. Composed from multiple banks from 10 or 11 countries. All right. So they discuss, they will come out with the policies in terms of the capital adequacy standard. So CAS, in short, it is actually a reserve. Some amount of money that must be set aside by the international bank. And should anything happen to the bank, bankrupt ke apa ke, all right, the money, the CAS money, the money that they keep in CAS will be used in order to cover or in order to pay the surplus unit. That one is CAS, right? Okay, so we have these two learning outcome. Bank capital adequacy, I have explained just now what is actually the CAS, yeah, capital adequacy standard. And the discussion was actually made during, couldn't remember what year, but in Basel. So they come out with the BIS, Bank for International Settlement. All this bank, they set together in Basel and come out with BAC, Basel Capital Accord. So they decided on several things, especially in terms of capital adequacy standard, because for them, all banks, all right, including international banks, they have to set aside some reserve. All right. Okay, so we have this the first one, the first accord, Basel Capital Accord. So remember, we are talking about evolution, we are talking about innovation. They keep on evolving. Now we have Basel 3, right? Today is Basel 3, but we only cover up to Basel 2 because Basel 1 and 2 quite stable. Basel 3, they still, do some changes on it. All right. Kita bukan banking student. Kalau kita banking student, kita kena tahulah what are the changes. Yang ni kita tahu on the surface saja. Okay, what is the requirement for this? For this reserve, 8%. All right, 8% of risk-weighted asset. If for conventional banks, domestic operated bank, the reserve is based on the deposit received from the surplus unit. But for international bank, it is totally different. It is not only about the money that they receive, but the money is based on the risk-weighted asset. What is actually risk-weighted asset? We are talking about the papers, right? Not in terms of deposit. They calculate the reserve based on the papers. International banks, they do not deal much in terms of deposit, they deal with money. They deal with papers, bonds, equities, people purchase bonds, people sell bonds. So they're dealing in terms of that. All right. They are the underwriter. So this one is one of the major contributor to their profit. All right. To their revenue. Okay. So minimum of CAS is 8%. Who decided for this? BIS, Bank for International Settlement. Who are they? A composition of 10 or 11 big banks, right? You can check, right? The category of bank capital, right? So they divided into two, tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 is core capital, consists of equity and retained earnings. And tier 2 is supplementary capital, non-equity items such as preferred stock and subordinated bonds, right? So they decided what are the components. Dia ada komponen kecil-kecil saya ambil yang ni je yang penting. So for the test purpose, you kena ingat yang ni lah. The core and the supplementary. Alright? Okay, so this is the calculation. I'm not going to test you for the calculation. Wait, for the test question, the resource person has not decided yet. Tak tahulah kalau ada calculation bab ni ya. We do not know. So, but this is how we calculate the reserve based on CS. So we have risk-weighted asset. It is fixed. This one is fixed. If the bank deals with government obligation, 0% will be allocated for that. If the government is dealing with short-term interbanks, it is 20%. All right. Residential mortgage, it is 50%, and other assets is 100%. This is fixed. Nak tanya dapat dari mana? Diorang lah tentukan. The BIS, the brains of it. Right? They determine. If you're dealing with government papers, tak adalah, no reserve. Short-term interbanks, 20%. You have to reserve 20%. Residential mortgage, you have to reserve 50%. Other assets, you have to reserve 100%. So how do we calculate this? A bank with 100 million in each asset, the risk-weighted asset is equal to 170 million. Let's say a bank has 100 million in government obligation, 100 million in short-term interbank, 100 million in mortgage, and 100 million in other assets. Alright, dia lagi tinggi tu maksudnya risk dia lagi. The higher the percentage, the higher is the risk. Remember that. The higher the percentage, the higher is the risk. Government obligation kosong sebab government will serve their obligation. Yang lain-lain tu tak boleh percaya sikit. So that's why you have to increase the reserve. So this is how we calculate. Just copy the percentage. Now risk-weighted asset, 0 for government obligation because 0 multiplied by 100 million. 100 million. Is 0. And then we have 100 million multiplied by 20%. So we have 20 million. 100 million multiplied by 50%, we have 50 million. 100% multiplied by 100 million, we have 100 million. So altogether, 100 plus 50 plus 20, you have 170 risk-weighted assets. So the calculation is not straightforward for CIS. You have to determine. Not determine, you have to identify. Kalau determine kita yang kira, you have to identify what is risk-weighted asset, and then you have to calculate what is the amount of risk-weighted asset. The first one you get the percentage, the second one you get the amount of each asset, and the third one you get the total of risk-weighted asset, which is 170%. 170 million. Dah habis? Belum. Kita sambung lagi. So now we have risk-weighted asset of 170 million, right? So remember capital adequacy standard is 8%. Kita letak di sini tadi. Alright, kita kata di sini minimum ratio of 8%. So after calculate the weighted asset, risk-weighted asset, then only we can determine how much is the capital adequacy standard or the reserve. So the reserve is 8% multiplied by 170 million, that is equal to 13.6 million. So this is the amount of money that International Bank must keep as reserve. Are we okay so far?
Yes, madam.
Boleh ya? Okay, Alhamdulillah. Alright, so yang itu, dia ada satu lagi condition, not more than half could be tier 2. So 13.6 million divided by 2, right? So you can divide, right? This 13.6 million, you can divide your reserve in tier 1 or tier 2. Tapi kalau you nak buat tier 2, dia tak boleh lebih daripada 13.6 divided by 2 dapat berapa? 6.8. Not more than 6.8 in tier 2. Tak boleh lebih. That is the maximum. You can have more in tier 1, but maximum for tier 2 is 6.8 million. All right, that's how we calculate the CS. Now, what happened with Basel Accord? Critics. All right, we have these critics. Why? All banks, all international banks, they comply with Basel Accord agreement. They comply. They follow. All right, one by one. Unfortunately, there was one bank, not only one, there were few banks failed in their operation. Though they have followed strictly the CAS requirement. They followed strictly whatever regulations set by BIS, especially in terms of the reserve. They followed, but they failed. Satu bank tu nama dia Barings Bank, the Barings Bank. They failed. This company failed. Failed to maksud bankrupt lah. They bankrupt. So they critics the BIS, Bank for International Settlement. They critics over capital adequacy standard. And they investigated. The reason for this failure was CAS only actually cover, when they do the calculation, it only cover the credit risk, failure in credit risk. All right. So banks deal with multiple agencies, organizations, multinational corporations, and governments. They deal with multiple types of instruments, financial papers, short term, long terms, medium terms. All right. And whatever risk that they are calculated at that time, they were calculated at that time, was actually based on the credit risk. If the bank, if the multinational corporation failed to pay, so they calculate that into the capital adequacy, calculate that into the reserve. All right. But they actually missed to include other types of risk. All right. Maksudnya credit risk sahaja tidak cukup, because we are talking about advancement, evolution in business activities. So credit risk is not enough. We are talking about multiple type of risk in business. We are talking about market risk, fluctuation in terms of prices of commodities, prices of foreign exchange. Yang tu tak dimasukkan. They did not include that in the calculation. Right? And then they did not also include the operational risk. Scammers, you know. Scammers with operational risk, dia tak masukkan. All right. If you are dealing with Bitcoin, for example, nowadays you're talking about Bitcoin, all these digital currencies, you know, there are a lot of scam cases actually. Banyak sangat case-case tu, ya. So they review Basel Accord and they come out with a new regulation. So that new regulation, it is known as Basel II. Basel II cover credit risk, market risk, and operational risk. All right. In the future, we do not know what type of risk that they need to cover, right? Because makin dunia makin maju, risiko makin tinggi. Okay, this one is Basel II. Minimum capital requirement maintain 8%, but it covers 3 types of risk. Just now, Basel Accord 8%. That only cover credit risk. Credit risk meaning to say failure of the deficit you need to pay back. Credit risk, dia gagal untuk bayar semula. Failure of the deficit need to pay back. But now you have Basel II, they cover credit risk, market risk, and operational risk. So it is actually quite extensive. All right, quite comprehensive. And they are also allowed to do a supervisory review process. So they have to do this review. Review ni macam apa? Dalam kita punya organization dia macam ISO lah, audit. All right, they have to do audit. Okay, one of the requirement under audit is to do what we call a stress test. So this stress test will test about the capability of the firm, capability of the company to provide loan. How much money that the company able to provide? What is the capability? What is the amount of money that the bank able to release as loan? So they have to conduct this stress test. Bukan manusia aja stres ya. Kita stres lalu kan. Kita pun ada stress test kan. Bank pun ada. Right? So that one is under audit. It is known as supervisory review process. In Basel Accord, there's no requirement for this. Tak ada. Right? You are free to offer loan that you wish for. Right? Because the more money that you release, the more is the expected return, the risk. Okay, so BIS come up with the second requirement, and the third requirement is the effective use of market discipline. What is actually market discipline? You have to disclose the key information of your bank, of the international bank, to the public. All right, so we are talking about visibility. So you have to show that visibility. Right, so these are all under Basel 2, because Basel 1, you can see the flaws in the Basel 1. Okay, any question? Capital adequacy standard? Saya tak cover Basel 3 ya. Saya cover sampai Basel 2 saja. Sebab Basel 3 masih ada perubahan-perubahannya. We okay so far? Alright. Okay, next one, international money market instruments. You have to remember the illustration just now. You can divide in our fund flow mechanism. You can divide the market into two. When you're talking about the mechanism to circulate money in the economy, so we have financial institutions and we have financial intermediaries. That is one part. And the second part, we have the capital market, including money market, capital market, derivative market, commodity market, forex. That one is under the second component, right? So international money market is under the second component, right? Under the financial market. So under financial market, you have capital market, money market. I repeat, derivative market, apa lagi, forex market, apa lagi kita ada kat situ, commodity market, right? So that one is under financial market. So ingat, kalau orang tanya, bukan orang tanyalah, you should be able to illustrate. So when you're talking about investments, so people with extra money, they can invest either in the financial institutions or in the financial market. If you are risk averse, you go to financial institutions. If you are risk taker, you can go to the financial market, which you can purchase money market, bond markets. You can purchase commodity, for example. Right, nowadays we are talking about trading, right? People purchase, for example, silver. People purchase, for example, gold. Right? They do not purchase the commodity. Right? They purchase online. They do have that kind of activity, that kind of facilities nowadays. And you can also purchase digital money. But my advice, you have to read before you make any investment decision. Because as a Muslim, we need to observe. Riba is haram, number one. Right? Riba is haram. Even if you are trading in gold, you purchase gold, commodity gold, you purchase your ring, you purchase your necklace, for example, all right, your bangle, for example. So you have that commodity in your hand. You gunalah as your accessory, kan, as your property. And when you get bored, you go to the goldsmith and you do the trade-in. Trade-in, you have to be very careful, all right? In gold transaction, if you want to trade in your ring, you have to sell the ring first, get the money, then only you can purchase the new items. If you just trade in and exchange with the new items, the new ring, new design ring, I'm afraid that can be categorized as riba. Same goes to riba is number one. Number two, you have to check in terms of the, I can't remember the term dalam bahasa Arab. I mean, the transaction must be cleared, free from any doubtful transaction. It must be clear. For example, when you're talking about forex, forex is non-Sharia compliance. Forex, lagi apa? Bitcoin, that one is non-Sharia compliance. All right, because you can see the doubtful transaction, still doubtful. And forex, you're talking about purchasing money, but you are not holding the money, something like that. All right. So I'm not the expert, but I read about this. Forex and Bitcoin so far, it's not Sharia compliance yet. So be careful. Be careful. Right. I still remember one of my friends working in Bank Islam. So he mentioned to me about riba. Dia cakap dengan saya, Fiza, you tahu tak Fiza, kalau kita ni get involved in riba, kalau you dalam riba, I boleh perang dengan you tau, dia kata. I cakap, ya ke? Sampai macam tu. Yes, I boleh isytihar perang kat you, dia cakap. I pun, oh okay, sebab dia orang Islamic bank Islamic bank kan, Islam. So I pun check lah betul ke boleh perang dengan orang riba. Memang betul sebenarnya memang orang yang mengamalkan riba ni boleh diperangi. Tapi kita tak berperang lah kan. Boleh perang. Okay, very interesting. So sebab kita deal with banking industry ya. Saya cakap dengan kawan saya tu bila saya kata betul lah, saya kata ya Allah, semoga Allah ampunkanlah kejahilan kita kan dulu-dulu. Yang dulu tu jangan cerita dia kata. Lagi satu dia kata bila kita jahil dulu-dulu tak boleh cerita dengan orang. Cerita sebagai pengajaran boleh, tapi cerita sebagai bangga tak boleh. Banyak macam-macam lah kita belajar kan bila kita dah tua ni. Takkan nak jumpa orang nak cerita pasal global business strategy, nak cerita pasal international bank ni. Tak adalah, kita cerita dengan orang bank, dia pun tak nak cerita benda-benda dia. Benda-benda bank dia boring kan. Dia cerita benda-benda yang beyond that. Riba lah, interest lah, bitcoin lah, macam tu lah. Kita dapat information lah, informal information. What is money? Back to this one here. International money market instruments. Explain the different types of international money market instruments. So money market instrument, basically we are talking about papers which the maturity is short term maturity. You're talking about financial paper, but maturity is short term. It can be short term to medium. Some of the paper matured within 3 months. Some of the paper matured within 6 months. I think maximum is 1 year. All right, maximum 1 year. Right. So these are short-term investment and debt instrument. Remember, when we're talking about paper, when we're talking about money market, capital market, so you always hold together with you in your illustration the deficit and surplus unit. Sentiasa nampakkan benda tu. You kena tahu itu illustration you, surplus and deficit unit. All right. So what are the types of money market instruments? So we have euro currency, you have euro credits, you have euro notes, and you have euro commercial papers. Alright, kalau kita belajar dalam negara kita adalah juga kan macam T-bills, treasury bills, that one is short-term paper. Commercial paper, that one is short-term paper. Right, but when we're talking about international operations, so kita tak cakap commercial paper, kita cakap euro commercial papers. So that indicates international commercial paper, internationally related commercial paper, right? Okay. So euro currency, euro credit, euro notes, and euro commercial papers. So these are the things that we are going to cover. 4 saja. Oh, tak banyak, right? Okay. Euro currency is like a deposit. Euro credit is a loan, right? Euro currency is deposit, euro credit is a loan. Okay, so that is the keyword, deposit and loan. Why we call it as euro? So we will look into the definition. We are not talking about euro as currency here, right? We are not talking about euro as currency that is used by the European Union, no. Right? This is the term referring to currency or deposit denominated in multiple currency. All right, credit, euro credit, we are talking about loans offered by multiple international banks denominated in multiple currencies, not only in euro. Same goes to euro notes, short-term paper, short-term to medium-term paper, denominated in multiple currencies. Commercial paper, euro commercial papers, commercial paper denominated in multiple currencies, not only in the euro, yeah. Okay, as I mentioned, euro currency is a time deposit. It is a deposit made by the surplus unit. All right, and the bank is located in a country different than the country that issue the currency. Euro currency, you're talking about, for example, RM being deposited not in Malaysia. RM deposited in, for example, in Singapore. That one is euro. It is known as euro ringgit. You have euro dollar, meaning to say the dollar which is deposited not in US, outside US. US dollar deposited in Indonesia. The term is euro dollar. US dollar deposited in Singapore. The term is euro dollar. US dollar deposited in Australia. The term is known as euro dollar, right? So the money is deposited in different countries. How is it possible? You transfer, you wire the money. You know, you're talking about wiring the money, just transfer the money online, right? So you have your money in your currencies and you transfer in other than your home country. So that money is known as euro, right? Euro. You have euro yen. Euro yen meaning to say the depositor deposit the money outside outside Japan. That is euro yen. Okay, so kita panggil euro. Kenapa? You boleh baca dia ada sejarah dia. During the war between US and Soviet Union. During that time, US freeze all account, all right? All foreign bank, foreign account, right? All accounts belongs to foreigners. They freeze the account. US ni jahat ni waktu perang dengan Soviet Union. So Soviet Union tried to escape from this, the regime. So Soviet Union, they deposit their money, all right? Remember, when you want to deposit your money, you have to convert. You have to convert from your money to US dollar. You need to convert into US dollar. But if you want to maintain, what you can do is you can declare as euro. But if you don't declare, you have to convert. You're going to convert. And Soviet Union at that time, they deposit the money in one of the European banks, right? And they maintain the currency. Dia tak tukar. Dia gunakan currency dia. Soviet Union punya currency. So that money is tagged as euro. Meaning to say the Soviet Union money deposited outside Soviet Union. And the European bank tag or code that transaction as euro. Dia nak sorok, dia guna euro. So started from that day, whatever money, deposited outside its home country, that money is known as euro. Digunakan yang itu. Okay? Itu dia punya sejarah lah. So, but I hope you understand, right? So you can read the definition here. Euro currency. Yes, ada soalan? Tak ada. Euro currency market is 60% centered in European. Yeah, that one is logical lah, because the one that started is one of the European banks, right, dealing with Soviet Union at that time. Bank dia tak kisah you siapa pun, dia dapat duit dia ambil je duit tu. They want to make money, right? You puak kiri ke, you puak kanan ke, you smuggler ke, you drug trafficker ke, whatever, drug cartel ke, dia tak kisah. Asalkan dia dapat duit, dia buat duit daripada tu. Right? Okay. So this is the condition. Euro currency, very interesting. You look at this. Minimum transaction is $1 million. You ada RM100 tak boleh buat. Alright. Minimum is $1 million. Multiply 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Okay. Common reference rate. LIBOR, FIBOR or SIBOR. Dekat Malaysia, dekat Asia, you have this euro currency. Kita panggil Asian currency. Right, Asian, kita panggil, dia ada specific name lah for Asian. We try to have that. But in general, people still call euro. In general. So you have to remember, deposit the money. And how about the return? What is the reference? Who will set for the return? Right, the return is set here. LIBOR will set what is the return. 2%, 1%, right? Or PIBOR. PIBOR, let's say PIBOR set 2%. So 2% multiplied by 1 million. Multiplied by, let's say, 6/12. 6 months, 6/12. So you have the profit. You have the return. You have the return from the investment. So that's how we calculate. And then we have SIBOR. SIBOR will determine how much is the rate of return for euro currency for time deposit made by Asian. All right. The focus is in Asian. Okay. PIBOR, LIBOR, the focus in European. Okay. Right. Okay, this is the illustration. We have this. Berapa dah? Okay, lagi 5 minit we have IBM. IBM has $1 US. Dia ada duit $1 billion, $1 million US. Right? So dia nak invest lah, definitely $1 million US. If we just put in the company, the dollar will not make anything. All right, so the company decides to invest in 7-day deposit. You tengok, dia 7 hari je, 7-day deposit. Right? So kalau 7-day deposit, you nak calculate the interest, 1 million multiply by interest, multiply by 7 divided by 365. Dapat return, at least kan? Daripada you simpan dekat dalam bank, dalam company, tak dapat apa-apa. You put in the safe box, for example, you get nothing. 1 million remains as 1 million. But if you time deposit, you go for euro currency, time deposit, so you have some return. So dia ada 2 options. The first option, Bank of New York. The offer is 5.25. The second option, Banco Santander Central Hispano. Dia punya rate adalah 5.5. Rational investor, definitely they will choose 5.5. Right? 5.25 rendah sangat. So 5.5 tinggi sikit. Alright, so what IBM needs to do is IBM will deposit the money with Banco di Santander for 7 days. Alright, so to do that, okay, the bank must make sure Banco di Santander, right, especially kalau bank ni tak ada foreign branch dekat tempat tertentu tu, apa yang dia perlu buat, dia boleh buat correspondent relationship. So BSH must have a US dollar bank account with the US bank, say Citibank. Correspondent kan? This is correspondent relationship. Alright? Correspondent relationship. So BSH open up an account with Citibank. So IBM will deposit the money. Alright? They will deposit the money. So you nampak ya, IBM in dollar, dia deposit duit dia dekat mana? Dekat Spain. Spain bukan dollar. So dia deposit duit dekat Spain. Walaupun you nampak dia deposit dekat Citibank. Tapi duit tu bergerak. Right? Duit tu bergerak ke Spain. So that's why it is known as euro currency or euro dollar. Bank tu tak bergerak. Duit tu. Kita tengok duit tu. Right? So bank deposit the IBM deposit the US dollar in Citibank, and Citibank will transfer the money to BSCH. The whole amount, 1 million to BSCH. Tapi saya nak cakap lah, Citibank mestilah charge. Dia akan charge juga IBM tu, kan? For the service. Right? Macam mana dia charge? Yearly dia akan tolak. Dia akan dapat something lah daripada IBM. Alright, and then now BSH withdraw the funds from its account at Citibank. Maksudnya dia transfer lah, dia transfer. Okay, dia tak ada keluarkan semua masukkan, tak, dia transfer, the wire transfer. So in 7 days, BSCH transfer 1 million US dollar plus interest through its account at Citibank to the account designated by ABM. So dia akan transfer balik. 7 hari, BSCH will transfer 1 million plus the interest of 5.5% to Citibank. That one is euro currency. So sebab tu penting faham tadi tentang correspondent relationship. Kalau you tak faham correspondent relationship, pergi kat sini you dah pening. Alright, so you need to understand what is correspondent relationship. Then only you can illustrate how does this euro currency transaction takes place. Right? Okay. So yang ni note, if the Bank of New York had received the deposit, they should have set aside of the deposit as a reserve as specified by. Okay, so this is we understand about that. Alright, and then we have euro credits. Euro credits ni apa? Loan. The money that can be disbursed as loan to the deficit unit. All right, and euro, remember, it is denominated in currency other than the home country's currency. All right, macam yang tadi itulah. Are we okay? Okay, ya.
Yes, madam.
So euro notes sama juga. Euro notes will be issued in other than the country that issued that particular notes. All right, it is dominated in multiple currency. If the company is located in Malaysia and that company really need money short term, right? They will sell paper, and that paper will be denominated in multiple types of currency. All right, it is short term notes underwritten by a group of international investors. And remember, when you're talking about issuing these papers, all financial papers, the company must hire a bank as underwriter. The one that actually will underwrite the bonds, equity, notes, euro commercial papers are the banks, not the company itself, the bank. Alright. Macam tu lah bank buat duit dah. Dapat deposit daripada orang, buat loan dapat duit. Kemudian deficit unit, they wish to issue papers. Bank juga yang jadi intermediary, dapat duit lagi. So kalau you nak cepat kaya, you buka lah bank ya. I recommend you to read about RRG. Baca macam mana founder dia buka bank. Bacalah. Sangat menarik. Alright. Saya ni banyak cerita lah. Tu yang lambat habis. So this is definition. You boleh baca. Euro notes, euro commercial paper, they are sold at discount. Let's say if the the amount of paper is 10,000 ringgit Malaysia, that paper will be sold at discount. Alright, that will be sold less than 1,000 ringgit. Yang ni at discount saya akan terangkan dalam chapter bond nanti. Alright, dalam chapter bond kita akan terangkan. Alright, so ini boleh tengok maturity 7 hari ya, 7 hari sampai ke 365 hari, even less than a month. Okay. Okay, so this is euro commercial paper. Alright, yang ini euro commercial paper sama juga, tapi dia we are talking about short-term money market instruments. It will be denominated in multiple currencies. All right, it is denominated in multiple currencies. So you can see the difference between US commercial paper and Euro commercial paper. For Euro commercial paper, denomination currency is in not only in euro, all right, not only in euro, in multiple currency. Ini typo sebenarnya, currency. Currency US dollar is in US dollar, but Euro commercial paper in multiple. Saya betulkan nanti. Maturity shorter for US commercial paper. Euro commercial paper panjang sikit. Twice long as US paper. Secondary market is more active because shorter. Maturity is shorter. So secondary market more active. Euro dia panjang sikit. Sebab tu dia less active. Commercial paper selalunya dia 6 ke 12 bulan. Alright, selalunya. Alright. Quality US commercial paper is higher. Euro is lower. Macam Eurobond lah. Eurobond dia pun rendah sikit. Nanti kita cerita kenapa. Apa-apa yang Euro ni macam rendah sikit. Returns is lower in the commercial paper but higher in the commercial Euro commercial paper. Why? Because of this quality, the risk. Alright. Yeah, we're talking about lower quality. The risk is high, right? Lower quality, the risk is high. Return must be high. Alright. Quality is high. Risk is low. Return is low. Dalam investment, the higher the risk, the higher the return. Okay. Okay, that's all for today. Alhamdulillah habis. Terlebih sikit. Okay. So this is from our Holy Quran, Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 278. O you who believe, wahai orang yang beriman, be afraid of Allah and give up what remains from riba. Right, if you are a believer. So this is the ayah. Boleh baca lah macam mana riba. Nauzubillah kita terlibat dengan nauzubillah lah kalau kita terlibat dengan riba. Melainkan kalau kita tidak ada pilihan. Astagfirullahaladzim. Alright, semoga Allah gerakkan kita, tunjukkan kita kepada jalannya supaya kita dapat bebaskan diri daripada riba. Amin ya. This is from Warren Buffett. The best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you will earn. Betul lah tu. Tapi belajar yang akan dapat faedah kepada kita adalah benda yang memanfaatkan orang. When you benefit people, you learn and you benefit people, so you will earn. But if you learn and that subject only benefit yourself, you won't enjoy much in terms of the return. All right. So with that, I thank you. So sekitar ada 31 orang sahaja ya yang join for this session. So ada soalan ke? I would like to end this session.
So far no, madam.
Alright, it's okay. Nanti kita bagi soalan, kita tahu ada soalan ke tidak, tahu ke tidak, faham ke tidak. I will prepare question for you. If someone asks about the book, I basically let you decide. If you want to purchase the book, so it's up to you. If you don't want to purchase, so it's up to you. You are adult. I will treat you as adult. you are not kids anymore, so you make your decision. Okay, it's up to you. All right. So with that, I thank you. So we have 31 students. So saya harap yang seorang tak datang tu sihat lah ya. Harap ni sihat. Mungkin ada hal ataupun ngantuk lah, selalu bulan puasa kan malam kiam. So let us end with tasbih kafarah in suratul Asr. May Allah forgive me and may Allah forgive everyone. Allahumma rzuqna Lailatul Qadr. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam Muhammad. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
madam.
madam.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
madam.
madam.
Thank you, madam.